What is going on, everybody?
Hello.
It is Pixelbarners here, and welcome back to Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright when we left off. The storyteller is winning Dad of the Year award in a sarcastic manner, as all of this was made for his daughter because he couldn't handle how to fucking undo a lie and fix all the shit that you did to your daughter.
He handled a lie by lying more.
Boy, and tripling down
people's lives in the process.
all over. It's just, you devised all this for the sake of your daughter. Yes. We acquired the land with which had been laid to waste by the fire. The new town was slowly becoming populated. Gradually, the rules of Labyrinthia were established. It was to be a town where magic and witches were reality to the residents. All of this was possible thanks to the drug.
God.
The test subjects were exposed to it. Well, I guess it's all in here. Through the ink used to pen the story, right? Why would you
open the Grim Grimoire?
Why would you open the Grand Grimoire to talk about the ink that was used to pen the story?
It's pretty grim at this point.
Are you saying in the last page this is the source and it talks about the ink that's used to create everything? That's right. It was a dangerous drug developed by Newton. About 10 years have passed since then. Even now the town continues to change.
It's no wonder his buddy decided to end things. That's a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. So I was wondering, why would he do that? And now with all this revealed, I'm like, that would do that to a person.
Yeah.
But he has no shame, apparently.
Project Labyrinthia. And all this was done for one girl.
Espella was unable to be herself when she lived within my story. Oh, the irony of it. Within a world in which Bezella was real, could Espella's tragic memories be sealed? All this while, Eve was assisting me.
I was the first shade.
Ah!
As soon as the story began, I disappeared from the scene. Espealla was to see some magic, and someone had to don this robe.
That's the Robe of Invisibility.
I gave Espealla new memories so that she could live in this town with everyone else. I also sealed the memory of her friend Eve. What?
My existence was too strongly connected to her memory of the fire. Afterwards, I returned as Darklaw, a stranger to Espealla.
But even if you were doing this for Espella's sake, that's just going too far.
I made that choice. I do not regret the past 10 years. Meanwhile, my father was supporting Labyrinthia from behind the scenes, in his own way.
Do you mean his contributions as an alchemist?
My father's knowledge of medicine was indispensable for this town to function. And the hallucinogenic ink, I couldn't read it, was my father's work as well.
So it was. Newton and Eve sacrificed more than anyone else for the sake of Espealla in this town. I will be forever indebted to them. One of you, because the other one's dead.
Ugh. We wanted to save Espealla, just like you. It wasn't for you, it was for her.
But
Get over yourself.
There's still something I don't understand. Why were you trying to destroy this fake world? In the end, you chose to betray Espealla and Mr. Cantabella.
Oh, but I've told you already, have I not?
It was your revenge against Mr. Cantabella for choosing to end the story, correct?
I wonder whether that was the true reason. Professor? Would Miss Belduke really betray them merely because she did not want the story to end? I dare say there was another, considerably more important reason. She had another reason? No need to frown in dismay, Mr. Wright. Please leave this to me.
Okay.
Well then, let's hear what the Inquisition has to say. What other reason led the witness to betray Mr. Cantabella?
I mean, the only thing that we can really
Her
put at this is
dad.
going to be the suicide
Oh, can we
note.
look at it?
We cannot. All we can read is the fact that he wrote this to his friend about his daughter and his feelings of guilt. But once we present this, well, he'll probably read the entire thing again, and we have new context for it, knowing that Darklaw is Belduke's daughter. And I'm sure that the fact of him committing suicide due to all this probably changed the way that Darklaw acted after that situation.
For sure.
Have a look.
Have a look.
Have a look at this horrible thing.
This letter was Miss Belduke's real motive.
What is this? I think I've seen it before.
That's the letter written by Mr. Belduke for Mr. Cantabella. It's also Mr. Belduke's suicide note. My dear friend, I hope you can forgive me for living this world of my own will.
I'm
What
sure
I have
this
done
is not
cannot
the
be
voice
forgiven.
you've given before, but it's
I don't know.
fine.
I can never escape from it. Something was tormenting Mr. Belduke. It became too much for him to bear and drove him to suicide.
These past 10 years, I thought Father was glad to be helping Cantabella. But little did I know, he was suffering terrible anguish all that time.
No. Cantabella twisted the lives of so many people for the sake of his daughter. Was the story not but a glorified lie, stripping so many of what little happiness they had?
Exactly. All those years, Father was racked by a crushing sense of guilt.
His agony culminated in the incident of 3 months ago.
Mr. Belduke's death.
Oh, it did burn invisibility cloaks off. I was
I
kind
mean,
of...
if that's how they're going to justify it, that's a lot of invisibility cloaks.
I was kind of kidding.
Then the pure chance of lightning striking that tower.
It was like a giant invisibility cloak was on it. Before Labyrinthia was created, certain things had to be concealed in order to seal Bella's memories. Had she seen them, she would have remembered. They were simply too dangerous to her. One of them was me. Bella's friend Eve had to be reborn as a shade and disappear into the forest. The next thing was the bell tower.
I see. Had she seen it, it would have been certain to stir up those traumatic memories.
Yeah.
Memories of the legendary fire.
The only way to prevent that was to erase the bell tower from Labyrinthia,
But how could you do that?
using the same method as with this robe.
The Robe of Invisibility, can we learn the method, please?
In short, we covered up the tower with a huge robe. Although it wasn't as easy as it sounds.
In other words, the bell tower had been there all this time. Only the townspeople couldn't see it. Is that correct?
Indeed.
I don't know what to say.
At any rate, the situation changed due to that lightning strike 3 months ago, did it not?
It was a most unfortunate accident. The lightning set the bell tower's cover on fire.
God said, fuck your plans today.
That cover was quickly consumed by flames, revealing that abominable bell tower. The beginning of all this, the Bell of Ruin, appeared before us. It was mockery of our efforts.
God said, fuck you.
That tower emerging from the flames must have seemed like a sign of divine anger to Mr. Belduke.
yeah, that's
A
exactly
sign
what
no
you
matter
just
how you
said.
attempt to conceal your sins, the truth will eventually float up to the surface.
Having realized this, Father chose death.
He was such a kind-hearted man. I didn't have an inkling of what he had been going through.
Yeah, because you don't feel guilt, apparently.
Tim, the participation of Labyrinthia's people within this project was not voluntary. Even though they had themselves signed the contract, I believe he felt those people were being deceived.
Well, kind of were.
Yeah.
Also, the kids never signed a contract.
Yeah. Father took his life because of you, Cantabella.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit.
Oh, shit. I mean, she's not wrong.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! No.
Now you know why I did what I did. I lost my father 3 months ago. That day, my revenge began.
Your revenge.
The first step of my plan was to rewrite the story.
What did you say?
As president of Labyrinth Inc., you had to spend most of your time in London. Over the past few years, you were coming to Labyrinthia only for the parades. So naturally, I knew you would never notice that the story was slightly changed.
That explains it. Couldn't help thinking there was something strange going on. Mr. Cantabella is Ispella's father, after all.
Yeah, that's right. She's the one that brought Phoenix, Maya, Luke, and Layton to this world.
He wouldn't have made Ispella a witch in his story.
Ispella was a witch? When did that happen?
How could you have known, after all? Let me fill you in on the details. Ispella has already been tried once within the Witch's Court.
Impossible. Why? How could you? You knew the risk that would carry.
Look at you. What a fine author of that grand story you are. You left all the work in Labyrinthia to me. Meanwhile, you were making millions for yourself in London. What a pathetic excuse for a father. You didn't even notice that your precious little Ispella was in such danger.
Damn! Miss Belduke, why did you do that to Ispella?
Do you even need to ask? I did it to unlock her memories.
You mean...
When the legendary fire took place, Ispella was so traumatized that she closed herself off to the world. We were just little girls then. That tragic accident was too much for us to handle.
Look at what's happened now.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
She's still gone! This fictitious town was created as a facade to keep the truth away from Ispella. But the weight of all these lies led my father to his suicide. Despite that, the person responsible for all this carried on as if nothing had happened.
You know what? That's a good point. He sent you a suicide note. What do? I just keep the story going, baby.
I couldn't forgive him. As Belduke's bereaved daughter, I had to have my revenge against both Cantabellas. Judge, this is the whole truth. Now you know the true identity of Bezella.
Ah, so you went ready to fuck both of them up. Way to go. Okay.
You say this is the whole truth. But is that really the case?
Professor, you just keep doing this.
What are you going on about now?
We have been provided with a clear picture of what happened to Ispella so long ago. Nevertheless, we haven't yet heard your testimony.
My testimony? Don't be ridiculous!
Don't question my words. This would be the last testimony in this trial. Tell us about the night of the legendary fire. Request that you tell us your story.
Who do you think you are, Inquisitor?
I am merely one of the supporting characters within this tale. However, I am very much interested in the truth.
It's kind of my thing. You stole that from me.
This has been a very long trial, of which this shall be the last interrogation. Because I'm really tired. The court demands that the single other witness of the legendary fire provide us with her testimony.
Very well. There's only one truth. Nothing can change that.
Except a contradiction, which will apparently be here for having one last testimony, so... Who's on the legendary fire? Okay.
Ispella wanted to ring the bell no matter what, so we went up to the belfry. The festival celebrations had already started. The mechanism for ringing the bell was at a height even we could reach. That was their first mistake. The next thing I remember is coming to and running to Ispella's side. I was shaking her until she finally opened her eyes. The next moment, we saw that nightmarish view. All strength abandoned us and we didn't know what to do. That was when we were found by my father and Mr. Cantabella.
The bell could only be rung with a special mechanism. That's right. It was made in such a way that even a child could use it.
It was probably constructed by my father. I suppose he wanted to make it possible for anyone to ring that bell.
How big of a mistake that was.
In light of the events that followed, that was clearly a very foolish decision.
Mechanism for ringing the bell. I noticed something like that on a pillar when we went to the belfry earlier. I'd better make note of it in the court record. So that's going to be important, I guess.
Oh dear, fate can certainly be cruel.
I have to agree. If only we had not discovered those runes and brought that bell to our town, or if only we could have deciphered those ancient writings a little earlier. Moreover, if only the groundwater in this area didn't cause that strange if only! Unfortunately, Mr. Cantabella, a tragedy occurred. All that remains for us to do is to seek out the truth. Not for the sake of vengeance, but for the sake of the future. Mr. Wright?
Yes?
You have been fighting fiercely to uncover the truth, except you remained very silent for the past 2 hours if I've done the work. You do the final one. This is the final interrogation. I trust you know what to do.
Finally, I get to do my job. Leave it to me. To be honest, I have no idea what lies ahead. But whatever it is, there's no question we need to get to the bottom of it. There's gotta be light at the end of this tunnel. And I think, you know what's ironically gonna be?
What?
I bet that a spell is not the one to ring the bell, and it was fucking Darklaw / Eve. And
What
so a
if they-
spell has been tortured for nothing this entire
what if
time.
they both did it? And Eve's just like, well, she's the one that, wanted to do it in the first place. I just helped her, but I kind of pushed that down.
I don't know. I think in a way to try and save a spell, we have to push it all on Darklaw, because right now we gotta do something to fix a spell, because she is fucking broke, did.
Oh, so we're gonna break Eve instead?
Well, it seems like she realized what happened and can handle herself. She's not broken because she probably knows at this point, if she can remember the past, she knows what she did or didn't do. But she's handled like a fucking trooper because she's Darklaw.
She was also older. Not that much older, but...
All right, wanted to ring the bell no matter what, so we went to the bell.
Hold it!
You needed both pendants to access the belfry, correct?
Espella asked me to bring my mother's pendant, so I did.
It wasn't the only requirement, however. You also need to solve a puzzle in order to use the contraption.
I've always been a master puzzle solver. For me, it was child's play. Literally.
Will you marry me?
What?
I love puzzles.
Puzzles, not me. Fuck you. She solved it when she was a little girl. What's your excuse, Nick?
Hey, I have different talents.
I spent any of her best friends
Is that
at
what
the
you call
time.
it?
Shut up.
Eve is 2 years older than Espella. Used to be like a big sister to her.
Yeah, just 2 years. Wow. Okay.
So she's 20. Thought it was early 20s.
She looks older than that. Am I the only one who thinks that?
I mean, I'd say maybe a little older, but not like in mid-30s like you were thinking. I'd say she looks like mid-20s at the oldest.
Well, no, I wasn't thinking mid-30s. I said at max.
So the two of you went to the belfry. What happened next?
She looks like 25, not 20.
Those celebrations already started. Mechanism for ringing the bell was at the height. Was at a height even we could reach.
Hold it!
Makes me wonder how old Barnum is. Where is He's just stuck in the dungeon.
Barnum and Luke are
we still
gone
don't know
forever
where
at this
Luke
point. They're gone forever.
Two of my favorite people just aren't here.
I think Luke fell into the water at this point.
No!
Okay, listen. So even a little girl could ring the bell.
Yes, easily.
I intended to make it so that the bell would only be rung on special occasions. That's exactly why I put that puzzle in place, to restrict access. You also divided the key to the belfry into two components as an extra precaution. I was careful, but the same cannot be said of Newton, who constructed the mechanism as a whole. He presumably wished to make it so that even our young daughters could use it, meaning strength was not a requirement.
And that became his undoing.
And everyone's. By the way, how old were the girls at that time?
Spella was 6 and Eve was 8. I see.
That mechanism was the last thing I saw before falling unconscious. And then...
Alright, I think is coming to and running to Spella's side.
Hold it!
Do you mean that you fell unconscious after the bell was struck?
Yes, I believe so.
A peculiar condition causes an instant reaction. The brain probably doesn't even have time to register the sound before consciousness is lost.
It was almost as if a slice of time had been stolen from my life. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the floor. I lifted my head and saw Spella lying nearby. I sprang to my feet and ran to her side.
And what about the situation in the town at that time?
I was preoccupied with the Spella, so I didn't notice it to begin with.
At that time, was the Spella still unconscious?
Yes. I panicked a little and took her in my arms, hoping she'd wake up.
Shaking her to finally open her eyes. Next moment, you saw that nightmarish view.
Hold it!
So it was you who woke Spella up, witness?
Yes, it was me.
Why'd you just do that's the first time you said that? So dark. Okay.
She was out cold, curled up on the floor until I shook her awake. As soon as she came to, she turned to look at the town, that nightmarish view stretching out before us.
When you say nightmarish view,
I can find no other words to describe it. We froze in terror at the sight. It took us a while to notice that smoke was creeping up the bell tower too. Our eyes filled up with tears and we couldn't stop crying, perhaps because of the smoke. The town seemed like a fire dragon's playground. I was trembling with terror unlike anything I'd known before.
Dear me! Merely imagining it now raises the hairs on my beard.
Okay then.
I don't have any on my head, so...
All strength had banned us and we didn't know what to do.
I need water.
You can have some water. And that was when we were found by my father and Mr. Cantabella.
Hold it!
You didn't leave the belfry until their arrival?
Of course not. We were paralyzed with fear. It was an event so traumatizing it still haunts us. Spella fainted again when she saw the fire dragon. I was crying and wailing until our fathers found us.
we went to the bell tower as it was a good vantage point. We weren't expecting to find our daughters there, even though we could probably hear their cries from a mile away. Of course, said Needed. He suspected that, at that point, that the disaster had been caused by the Bell of Rune. Eve was in tears, sobbing violently. As for Spella, she was in a daze, like now. Her face froze in an expression of disbelief. She didn't know what was happening around her.
I cannot say this with certainty, as my memories are a little vague. But I think I was trying to protect her.
Homie? Sup?
Hang on!
Mr. Cantabella?
Hello?
I remember that very well, as if it happened yesterday.
Cantabella?
Oh, that's a new
Yeah.
one. Would you mind telling us what you saw?
That's the most emotion I've seen on her face that wasn't smugness or
No.
evilness in this entire time.
Eve! Spella! Are you alright? Eve! What on earth happened here?
It was Bazella! Bazella the witch!
Bazella? What are you talking about?
Bazella comes out whenever someone rings the bell, right?
What have you done? You didn't...
Oh, please, Mr. Cantabella, don't be angry. And Bazella.
Eve said it with the most serious look on her face. Please, Mr. Cantabella, don't be angry at her. When she said that, I grasped the situation. I realized what had transpired in the belfry. And I thought to myself, I must protect these children.
That's probably...
I'm thinking Espella.
Yeah. Eve. I'm so sorry, Eve. Espella?
Espella? Sweetie?
Dad, please forgive me. You've done all this for me.
Espella? You're with us again?
All this for me.
Well, well. At last, it would appear we are one step away from the truth.
Professor? You seem to already know what the truth is.
How?
Do I? That remains to be seen. Continue the interrogation and we shall all know soon enough.
Very well. The court agrees with Inquisitor Layton. Witness, continue your testimony.
As you wish.
Uh-oh. You try to put the blame on Espella? Alright, now that Espella's active, we've got to go through these again and see. She's probably going to pipe up on something around here. You need both pens to go to the belfry. Espella asked for dick convoluted. This is child's play, literally. No talents. They were friends at the time. Yup. What happened next? Alright. Next one is the festival. Next one was
Hold it!
how it could reach. Height a child could reach. Yup. Intended that. Yep. Divided key. Low presumptuous think that was safe, wasn't it? Yup.
There's no
Right,
guarantee that she's
young.
gonna say anything now, though.
But she's popped out of her trance, so
I
she's
know.
gonna interrupt now because we didn't get anything else new. Remember? All right, this might be where things start to happen. Remember, it's coming to and running to Espella's side. All right, anything okay? I believe so. Anything didn't cause the reaction. Brain probably doesn't even have time to reach the sound before the sound's lost. But yeah, Espella is crying over there, so she's not in the trance anymore.
Yeah.
What about the situation? Town at that time. Everybody's dead.
Eh.
All right. Changing your body rise. Next moment, it's a nightmarish view. Here we go. Come on.
No, don't spam too
Oh.
much.
There we go. It stopped me on that one. As soon as she came to, she turned to look at the town to that nightmarish view stretching out before us.
Hang on!
What's going on, girly?
It's probably the last thing she wants to remember now.
Excuse me, Espella?
Espella, are you okay? Yes. Everything's fine.
My apologies for bringing back such troubling memories. Nevertheless, you must endeavor to face them and overcome the power they hold over you.
Yes, I remember it now. The fire dragon. I summoned it because I'm Bazella.
Oh, no.
No, Espella, it was just an illusion.
No, you're wrong, Dad. It wasn't an illusion. It was a fact. If I hadn't rung the bell, none of this would have happened. Bazella is the bringer of disaster, and that's what I've done to our town. Ack? Who's saying that? Oh.
You can't run away! Look at her! She's running to the bell tower!
Darn, she's locked herself in. There's no use to have to break down the door to get in.
Oh, that girl!
She's gone and... It's been a long...
That's. I wonder if the.
This little chin mailed herself. I assume that's Espella.
Stay away from me!
Is she gonna like hold the town hostage and threaten to ring the fucking bell? Oh god. Espella!
Espella, be careful! It's dangerous up there!
Please, Espella, calm down.
I'm sorry, everyone. I have no right to be here anymore. Nick! Espella's going to do something crazy!
Please don't jump. I can see that. Oh, what the heck can I do?
Espella, please do not make any hasty decisions.
Mr. Layton.
The truth is close now. Be brave for a little while longer.
The truth? As if it wasn't clear already. If I hadn't rung that bell, everything would have been fine.
Objection.
You may be mistaken. You still don't know the whole story.
Huh?
Isn't that so, Mr. Wright?
Me? I had the same feeling when I was listening to Eve's testimony. I felt something was not right.
Really? I thought that was pretty much it.
Pieces of the puzzle that don't yet fit are themselves the hints to the solution.
No way. You mean Espella didn't ring the bell? What? Nonsense. Of course she did.
As it stands, it's hard to say for sure that she didn't ring the bell. However, you've got evidence that will clear any doubts.
Show us this so-called evidence you claim to have, then. What do you think proves Espella didn't ring the bell?
I mean, we just got this. But I mean, it says it's a device for ringing a bell rune. Even
Also,
a child
like,
can use it.
She said the first thing that she saw when she woke up was the device. Remember?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything else that would say.
Which means that's the last thing she saw before she passed out. And she had to run over to Espella, which means Espella wasn't near the device.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw one of these in there just to see if it is still there, so that's gotta be it.
Even a child can use it, and she was also a child.
Espella, can you hear me?
Yes?
Where you're standing now is the same spot from where you saw this fire dragon.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I see what it is.
What?
On this side of the tower is not where that mechanism is. Which means that when she passed out, she wasn't near the mechanism because it's not up there on the belfry from this angle. It's on the other side.
I deduced that from, you know, Darklaw's testimony about having to run over to her.
Yeah.
This fretwork is the same as what I saw that day. When I look at it now, it seems so small, even adorable. Defense? What does this have to do with anything?
As you will no doubt recall, Mr. Cantabella told us that people who drink the groundwater here suffer from a condition where they fall unconscious the moment they hear the sound of pure silver. You know, I got...
We wouldn't fall asleep, though.
After the bell sounded, you recovered consciousness sooner than Espella. You ran to her side and shook her awake. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw the fire dragon. In other words, if it was Espella who rang the bell, that would mean the device for ringing the bell must be very close to the fretwork of the dragon. Espella, can you please check that for me? See if the contraption is located near the dragon fretwork.
Okay, give me a minute.
It's not. It's on the other side.
Mr. Wright!
Espella, did you find it?
I don't know if it's the right thing, but there's something on the other side of the belfry. A contraption with a handle. What? On the other side? Did she suppress it?
She might have. She might have suppressed it afterwards, because, I mean, it is a thing that happens where someone can tell a lie so much that they start to believe it. And I think maybe with her being so young, she
was
pinned
8 years old.
She made the point to pin it all on Espella early on, but maybe this went on for so long of having to lie and hide it that she herself has started to believe it over time. But that's right. I figured there was something weird when we went up to the bell tower, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
No way.
You see where I'm going with this, don't you, Miss Beldew? If it was Espella who rang the bell, there's no way she could have seen the fire dragon when she woke up.
No. This can't be right.
And An excellent deduction, Mr. Wright. Miss Darklaw, it seems that everything is now clear as day.
What? What do you mean?
Why, of course. I mean the answer to the question of who rang the bell.
It was her. It had to be.
What do you say, Mr. Wright?
Layton, you shouldn't look so happy about this.
And now Phoenix has the smug. It looks like we've arrived at the same
This
conclusion.
isn't a cheerful conclusion.
We now know that only one person could have done it.
Wait, what good will saying it out loud do? Is that a problem, Mr. Cantabella? It wasn't your daughter who rang that bell. Should that not lift some burden off your shoulders? Are you not curious to know the name of the true culprit who has pinned the blame on your daughter all this while? Oh,
How about you stop taunting us? Just say the name already. Who is this true culprit? Yeah, she really doesn't.
Nope.
She's
Let's do it, Professor. Are you ready?
I am always ready, Mr. Wright.
Time to fuck up a different person instead.
Yeah.
It's time to set things straight. The person who rang the bell is
Highlighted for me the moment we
Yep.
opened it.
Miss Eve Belduke, aka High Inquisitor Darklaw, aka the fake Great Vivitch.
It's you, Eve Belduke.
Is it gonna be in? Oh, me? But
There were only the two of you in the belfry at the time. You know that better than anyone.
As it wasn't a speller who rang the bell. It had to be you.
that's preposterous. It can't be true.
It was an extremely traumatizing event for both you and Espella. Your friend's memories were altered from the shock without her even realizing it. She believed she was a witch who rang the bell and summoned a dragon, which incinerated the town. However, Miss Belduke, Espella wasn't the only one whose memories were warped by the horrors of you two witnessed. You were affected as well.
No,
Oh
it
shit.
wasn't me. Espella, she rang the bell. It was her, not me. But why? What are these flashbacks? I've never had these before.
Oh boy.
We went to fixing one person to breaking another.
Are we just gonna see it happen?
Yeah. I was wondering where they got all those screenshots from. We hadn't seen anything
Yeah.
yet, but here we are. They're so cute.
She can't even push it. Easy for a child, you say.
What's the matter? I don't want to do this now. We'll be taken over by Bizella. Bizella is just a fairy tale. And you're the one who said you wanted to come and ring the bell. I did, but I changed my mind.
Dink-a-dink-a-dink-a-dink-a-dink-a-dink.
After coming all this way? Oh,
Just a little ring.
It says because they had no idea.
Well, I think she
No
didn't
one
pass
did.
out off the railing here.
Oh my.
Bro, she could have flopped off the tower and fucking fell to her death.
Isabella! Isabella!
Can you imagine?
No.
Their mothers are in there.
Mm-hmm. Mothers, friends, all slain. Why can't that be real?
Right? It's dope.
Eve,
That
how you doing?
nightmare was too much for two young girls to take in.
I can imagine.
Your young minds needed to protect themselves. That's why you subconsciously repressed those memories.
Then, if that's true, for the past 10 years, I've been pinning the blame for what I've done on Isabella. It can't be. It can't be true. It's impossible!
Darklaw's just disappeared.
She's donned the invisibility robe.
Which we still don't know how that works.
Where's Darklaw? She's run away.
But did you hear that? It was her that once destroyed this town.
I've already been messed up so much. We don't need this now.
You gotta pay for what she did. Capture her.
Oh boy.
Oh, Nick, look at the bell tower.
Oh no, is she up there?
Isabela's gone.
Oh shit.
No, she's on the roof.
I
I beg you, don't blame Eve.
Bro, what is this, Assassin's Creed? Get off there.
It really doesn't matter anymore who rang the accursed bell. This town was all created for me. It's my fault you've all been used and suffered so much.
Espella, what are you saying? Please, come down right now. You haven't done anything wrong. It was all my fault.
Dad, I know that you did this for me. You've been so kind to me. And what did I do? I selfishly ran away from home.
Espella,
I will finish your story for you.
Spella, what are you doing?
Evil witch will be gone forever.
Spella?
And everyone will live happily ever after.
Spella, what are you doing?
Dad, thank you for everything you've done for me.
Ma'am?
What's this game rated all of a sudden? Or is Darklaw gonna catch her underneath but get squished and killed from blunt force damage?
wait! Don't do it, Espella!
Oh, there's Luke all of a sudden. Did you see him?
What? Insert eagle sound from Assassin's Creed here.
God damn. See, Luke's there.
Yeah.
What are you?
If magic's not real, how do they have those? That's
Let's not question it.
and where did you
Come from, Luke.
Eve, why would you? I finally remembered everything I've done.
You're not the only one who remembered. You still have the pendant.
Yes, of course. That's because somehow I always knew it was important to me.
Isabella.
You kept your pendant as well, didn't you, Eve?
For some reason, I just couldn't let it go.
Espella! Miss Darklaw!
Quick, they'll fall if we don't do something.
Let's go. We have to save them.
No, you won't make it there in time.
Why?
The wooden handrail Eve's holding onto is rotted through. We need some sort of magic to save them.
Too bad magic doesn't exist.
No way.
Magic, you say?
The magic of
Got
puzzles?
an idea, Professor? If a bit of magic is all that's needed to save these two young ladies,
all that's needed?
then perhaps that is something I can arrange.
Are you getting Chris Angel mind freaking here?
What? You can?
Puzzle magic?
What the hell is about to what's about to happen?
Oh,
You better hurry up, Professor.
You have to let go, otherwise you'll fall too.
What's he doing? What? What?
Professor?
What's going on here? Anyone? Well, on that note, I think I'll save the rest of this for next time.
I'm also wondering when did Luke show up?
Dude, why did the creators go, you know what, Luke, whatever he's doing, that's not important. He's not important to the trial here. He's gonna sit in the background like a good boy and only show up when people are about to die.
Did they just keep him in the gallery silenced this entire time?
Why is he not important enough to help the professor?
Yeah, and why has Barnum, not been released from the dungeon?
The one job that Luke could have had this whole time.
Were they not able to get any more voice lines from the voice actor or something?
I'd like to imagine. Well, they don't even have to voice them. They can just type his ass in somewhere because it's not a voice actor.
That's true.
I'd like to imagine that, like, even the guards left and Barnum's just locked inside the prison, just not even knowing anything is going on. He's just sitting there like, oh my god, the Great Vivitch is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
What is going to happen?
Meanwhile, all this is going down.
Poor guy.
But what the fuck did the professor just do?
That's what we're about to find out.